Hi, I'm Graham.
And I'm Jana.
We are Crystal Street Comics, and welcome to Thoughts from Crystal Street, where TV is getting good again, which always makes us happy. But with TV getting good again, I thought that maybe this week we'd focus on the biggest question mark. I don't know if either of us are super excited about this show, but it's a superhero show, and I think I should be excited for it. But and that's Supergirl, the CBS show. We've touched on it a couple times about how it's kind of weird that it's not on WB, but we're going to give it a little bit of focus. So let's start with the more pinpoint thing that kind of came around this week, and that is Red Tornado being revealed. If you're not familiar with the character, don't feel bad.
It's a Supergirl character.
It's I think my main knowledge of Red Tornado came from Young Justice. He was on a lot of episodes of Young Justice, and that's the most I knew of him. He's a robot, and he makes a tornado under his body when he moves around. But they revealed what he's going to look like in the show, and it's how would you describe that?
I actually think the people on the internet that claim that he had the same costume designer as Apocalypse, they're not far off.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. It's not as bad as the first images of Apocalypse that was just the Power Rangers character.
Yeah, it was a little Ivan Uzi.
Yeah, it's not that bad. And actually, when I look at it, I don't think. I mean, I think it fits.
Yeah.
The comic book Red Tornado is so clearly Vision. I'm not entirely sure if Vision is clearly Red Tornado or Tornado's Vision. I don't know which one came first. But yeah, he looks, the comic book version, with the cape, he's an android. He looks a lot like Vision.
Yeah.
And I think the image captures for the show.
He looks a lot like Paul Bentley. He ends up looking a lot like Vision.
Yeah.
So it's a good look. I mean, I don't particularly mind the look. I think that it was getting torn into a lot, but it'd be hard. It's one of those costumes where you go, man, I want comic authenticity, and then you have a guy with a yellow arrow coming up the front of his head, and I think if you had that, you'd go, that looks ridiculous. Why would you do that? So I'm going to give him the creative license on that look, because again, it's such an unknown character that maybe it'll be good, but that's kind of the segue to what we think of the whole show.
Yeah. We both appreciate and like the idea that they are doing it.
Yes.
Beyond that, I don't know. To me, this feels very much like if they made Smallville today. I'm expecting the storyline or the production or all of that to be a little bit better than Smallville was, just because of all of the successful comic book TV shows and movies that we've had since Smallville came out. But just watching all of it, it's like every time I see trailers for it, it just feels like Smallville again.
Yeah.
Where it was very much, it was still to some extent very Lois and Clarky. A lot more of not superhero time, and then you had 20 minutes out of, well, probably like 12 minutes out of your 42 minutes of airtime where there's Supergirl running around as Supergirl, which is fine, but that's Marvel. That's not DC.
Yeah.
DC is your Supergirl and your Supergirl and your Supergirl, and every now and then
you got to be Kara.
You have to be Kara.
Yeah.
I think like Arrow is doing it well, because every time he's still Queen, he's still trying to figure out how. I mean, he's
awkward when he's Queen, and most of the time he's being Queen, it is to further along the Arrow's goals.
Yeah.
It is very little time is the Arrow. Now, I'd say maybe the Flash, you get a little bit more Barry.
Yeah, Flash right now, of the TV shows that are your masked heroes, Flash is clearly the most balanced
Yeah.
between Barry being Barry, but now I think that's going to turn very much into how Arrow is. When Queen is Queen, he's around other people that know he's the Arrow.
Right.
Who in Flash's show don't know he's Flash now.
That's
so
very true.
But yeah, the Supergirl feels very much like Clark in Smallville trying to hide his secret from people, and that's going to blow up in his face, and then he's going to turn Lex Luthor crazy.
Yeah, somebody's going to be, oh, I can't believe I didn't know, and what do you mean I didn't know? And I'd say my observation with it so far is it clearly looks like it has a higher budget than Arrow or Flash. It's got cleaner cameras. The CG, I mean, it's not great, but it still looks better than the CG they've attempted on Flash and Arrow. But it still somehow feels cheaper in it. I don't know how they're doing that, but it doesn't feel like the quality of the production is there that there is on Arrow and Flash. But it looks higher budget.
Yeah. This to me, because I think Arrow right now is a very good just test. Arrow and Shield are two really good tests of, you have TV budget. I don't know what Shield's budget is, but I'm assuming you could make 3 Arrow/Flash TV shows just on their budget. But Arrow is a grittier, grittier camera work. It's darker, and you don't have the colors. Supergirl is so loaded with color that I think it just kind of cheapens it. It starts making it look like Mimi from Drew Carey's show. It's like, she spent a lot of time to look like that, but it doesn't mean it looks good.
Yeah. And just in the fighting that you're seeing, it doesn't look like they put as much emphasis on it. Like, I mean, when Stephen Amell fought in the early seasons, it was kind of corny looking, but it still looked okay for stage fighting. In the stage fighting that they've shown in the trailers, I'm just like, I don't have a lot of hope. And I know it's Supergirl, so the idea is she should only have to hit you once.
Yeah.
And the fight's over. But it's still, I don't know. I don't quite know where to put this show right now. And it premieres next week after Big Bang, so
they have a good time slot.
They've got it. They've got a good lead. I mean, CBS is giving it some chances. I mean, they're doing better than NBC did with fucking Constantine.
Yeah.
NBC buried Constantine on Friday night. That's where shows go to die. CBS is saying, look, we're going to lead in with Big Bang. You figure you got a decent comic book crowd watching that show, and we're going to give you into Supergirl. And I think that's a great lead in, a great idea. And we'll see if the show has legs. I hope for good things. With comic book productions, I always hope for good things because I don't want this to, as Steven Spielberg has said, go the way of the Western.
Yeah.
I kind of want comic book movies to be something that lasts, and TV shows to be something that lasts. But
I'm hoping like kind of the same thing, but like with the budget of Supergirl or whatever. And when comic book TV shows or movies fail, it doesn't matter if they're even characters that we care about. But when they do fail, it hurts the entire industry because then there are fewer investors willing to. You start running into your Dolph Lundgren Punisher and your Nick Fury with the Hoff, where investors are just going to step away because, I don't like seeing any of them fail, whether or not I watch them.
Yeah.
And that's why, Fox, you suck. But so I'm hoping I'll watch the premiere. I'll probably watch if the premiere is good enough for me to give it more watches. But even with the premiere, we'll probably be back with another thoughts from our if what we think is right or they manage to
bomb.
Because
I mean, it is. I think Shield hits the same week that it's coming out, so Shield and it are kind of the early runners, and then I think Flash and Arrow are a week or two later. So again, as I led with, I'm just happy that TV's back. I opened up my DVR this morning. I had a Doctor Who to watch and a Big Bang to watch, and I'm just like, these shows, they're coming, and I'm so happy. So be happy with us. people, TV's back, and Supergirl, good luck. We really do. I really do hope the show succeeds.
Yeah.
So, I'm Graham.
And I'm Tanner.
And we'll see you next time.